students, let's talk about some important topics of the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. First is, how did the idea of nationalism and nation state emerged in Europe? What were the reasons? How the nation? Because at one time in Europe we find that there were big empires. Later on, by the period of 17th century, we find the big empires were started fragmenting into smaller states, and these states became a nation states. See, during the period of 17th century within Europe, there were two classes of people. They were the aristocrats and peasants. At that time, the society of Europe was feudal. The aristocrats were the homogeneous social groups. They spoke French. They belonged to very high class, high society. Their numbers were small, but they enjoyed very enormous powers and privileges. On the other side, we find the majority of the population who were the peasants. They were the farmers. They were tenants. They were serfs working for the aristocratic groups. So in Europe, we find the whole society was primarily divided into two groups. One, the aristocrats who were the landlords, landowners, big jamindars, and on the other side there were peasants, farmers, serfs, etc. The condition of these peasants were very miserable. Then we find that by 1750, the Industrial Revolution started in Europe. First of all, it started in England, and then this industrialism spread to other countries of the world, particularly to the countries of Europe. And this Industrial Revolution has greatly affected the socio-economic life of the people. See the impact. The Industrial Revolution led to the growth of towns and cities. A new classes emerged that were the mercantile class or the commercial classes. Middle classes also emerges. Okay, middle class means what? Earlier there were two classes: aristocratic classes, they belongs to high class, and peasantry, they belongs to low class. But after the Industrial Revolution, we find a new class emerges, that is the middle class, mainly consisting of industrialists, businessmen and professionals. They were educated persons, liberal minded, and don't forget that it was these middle classes who played a very important role in engineering revolutions in many countries of Europe. So mainly the revolution in Europe was called as a middle class revolution, because this revolution was mainly started, motivated by the educated people and participated by almost each and every section of the society. So these, see the last point, these middle classes, they wanted the removal of aristocratic privileges. They did not want that the aristocrats enjoy unlimited powers and privileges. They were in favor of equality. They wanted freedom should be given to each and every section of the society. They wanted every person should be given the opportunity to progress themselves, to develop themselves in the country, and there should be a society free from exploitation and domination. Okay, so Industrial Revolution has greatly affected the life of the people of Europe. And it was this Industrial Revolution which has prepared a way for new ideology. What was that ideology? Liberal nationalism. Question in the board exam often comes from this topic, liberal nationalism. Industrial Revolution has prepared a way for a new ideology, that is liberal nationalism. What is liberal nationalism, which is often called as liberalism? See, the term liberalism derived from the Latin word liber. It means free. Liberalism stands for freedom. Liberalism wants more and more freedom should be given to the people, so that they could develop their personality, so that their all-round development could take place in a proper way. So for the new middle classes, liberalism stood for freedom for the individuals and equality of all before the law. Just I to said. Politically क्या होता है? What is the meaning of politically? Liberal nationalism stand for that government which is formed by the people. Since the French Revolution, liberalism stood for the end of autocracy and clerical privileges, a constitution and representative government through parliament. French Revolution, we all know, played a very important role in popularizing the idea of liberalism, nationalism, democracy, and a system of constitutionalism. French Revolution. It was the French Revolution which has propagated, which has popularizes these ideas to other countries of Europe. So we can say that liberalism, the ideology of liberalism became very popular after the French Revolution. See the left side, social liberalism means end of autocracy, freedom of the individual. Political liberalism means government formed by the people in violability of private property. Universal suffrage is there. Right to vote should be given to each and every person's. Okay, and this was started in many countries of Europe. However, women were denied from the right to vote. Then economic liberalism. See, very important. Economic liberalism, what does it mean? It means freedom of market. That means every person should be given the right to take the decision in the market, to conduct the economic affair according to their own way. There should be abolition of restriction of movement of goods. That means ki goods should be freely moved from one country to another, from one place to another without much taxation. Uniform duty should be there. Uniform weight and measures should be there. Now what is uniform duties and weight and measures? See, we can understand the economic liberalism by the example of one country, that is, see, the case of German states. We all know that Napoleon has formed a confederation of 39 states of Germany, and each German state, before becoming a strong nation in 1870, Germany was a confederation of 39 states. The main state was Prussia, we all know. Now each 39 state has its own currency and weights and measures. Okay, every state more or less has its own currency and weights and measure. The merchants traveling from Hamburg to Nuremberg, okay, had to pass through 11 custom barriers and pay a custom duty of about 5%. See on the right side the map of Germany. You will see in the northern side of Germany there was one state, that is Hamburg, and see in the southern side green shaded region you will find Nuremberg. So if a merchant is traveling from Hamburg to Nuremberg, he has to pay custom duty at 11 places. Okay, 11 places, and custom duty was amounting to 5%. So within the same country, a merchant is paying custom duty at 11 places. That means that they were not the state, they were just a small countries. Then no uniformity in weight and measurement. Weight and measurement, there was no uniformity. See the example in Frankfurt. These are the cities of Germany. In Frankfurt, 1 LE is equal to 54.7 centimeter. Mainz, which is another prominent city of Germany today, 1 LE means 55.1 centimeter. Nuremberg, 1 LE is equal to 65.6 centimeter. Freiburg is also a city of Germany. 1 LE means 53.5 centimeter. So this is the example which is showing that that the weight and measure system in Germany was not uniform. There were custom duties were imposed in various states of Germany. Okay, so this shows that Germany was not a nation state because there was no uniformity in the weight and measurement. There was no uniformity in the method of taxation. Okay, in fact we can say that there was no economic liberalism in Germany. That's why in order to do away with it, at least to economically unify Germany, what was done? A concept of Zollverein was started. Zollverein, another very important topic of the chapter. What is Zollverein? See, Zollverein was started in order to do away with all these custom duties and the different types of currencies that were prevailing, that were existing in different states of Germany. See, in 1834, a custom union or Zollverein was formed. By whom? by the initiative of Prussia and joined by most of the German. Many German states, they agreed to this custom union. What this union did, the union abolished tariff barriers and reduced the number of currencies from over 30 to 2. That means that now a merchant who is traveling from Hamburg to Nuremberg is not required to give custom duty at 11 places. Custom duty was very much reduced from many places. Custom duty will be there. It is an important source of the revenue for the government. Okay, but the different types of custom duties were removed. To see, the union abolished tariff barriers. Now a merchant can freely move with their goods from one place to another, and it also reduced the number of currencies from over 30 to 2. Okay. Then the creation of the network of railways. The railways were established in different states of Germany. It stimulated mobility, harnesses economic interest to national unification. Okay, so the aim of Zollverein was what? To bind the German economically into a nation. This is a very important line. Okay, according to Professor Friedrich List, the aim of Zollverein was to bind the Germans economically into a nation, though still Germany was politically not united. Okay, but Zollverein has economically united the states of Germany. Political unification is yet to be achieved. But before political unification, Germany gained economic unifications due to this Zollverein. So Zollverein is a German word, and like many German words, it would be more than one word in English. Zoll means duty or custom, and Verein means union. So basically this word means a custom union. So what this custom union did, it eliminated trade barriers, although upholding a protectionist tariff system with foreign trade partner. This led to economic nationalism. That means the custom duty will be there, but there were various types of custom duties taken at different places that were removed. There would be custom duty will be taken from either 2 or 3 places only. Okay, and Germany was rich in resources and became industrialized during this era. So Zollverein has brought economic unification in Germany, and later on we find that due to the effort of Bismarck after defeating the countries of Austria, Denmark and France, finally in 1870 the political unification of Germany was also achieved, and after 1870 we find that Germany was on the road of becoming a developed country. Thank you.